group of 11 verses. Kisa Gotami. Kisa Gotami is the lady whose son died. The son was very young and passed away. And she could not accept it. She could not accept it that her son had died. So she went from house to house asking people to cure her son. And then she carried the body for a few days and the body was already rotting already. And still she was so grief-stricken, she went out of her mind, carrying the baby around, asking somebody to cure. Until she came to the Buddha. Then the Buddha told her to go and find a house and get some pepper where nobody has died. Then she went to house. She couldn't find a house that nobody had died. Then when she came back to the Buddha, then the Buddha taught her the Dhamma, that everybody has to die. Then she became sane again and became a nun. 213. The state of having noble friends has been described by the sage with reference to the world. Resorting to noble friends, even a fool would be wise. 214. Good men are to be resorted to. Thus the wisdom of those who resort to them increases. Resorting to good men, one would be released from all pains or suffering. 215. One should know pain, the uprising of pain and its cessation, and the Eightfold Path, even the Four Noble Truths. 216. The state of women has been said to be painful by the charioteer of men who are to be tamed. Even the state of being a co-wife is painful. Some, having given birth once, even cut their throats. Tender ones take poisons, gone into the midst of people killers. Both groups suffer misfortunes. 218. Going along, about to bring forth, I saw my husband dead. Having given birth on the path, I had not yet arrived at my own house. 219. 2 sons dead, and a husband dead upon the path for miserable me. Mother and father and brother were burning upon one fire. 220. O miserable woman, with family annihilated, immeasurable pain has been suffered by you, and your tears have been shed for many thousands of births. 221. Then I saw the flesh of my sons eaten in the midst of the cemetery, with my family destroyed, despised by all. With husband dead, I attained the undying. 222. The noble Eightfold Path leading to the undying has been developed by me. Quenching has been realized. I have looked at the Dhamma as a mirror. 223. I have my dart cut out, my burden laid down. That which was to be done has been done by me. The theory Kisa Gotami, with mind completely released, has said this. This one looks like should be Patachara, isn't it? I don't know why the names don't seem to be right. Now we continue tomorrow. I think to discuss. This one is attainment of the 3 knowledges. This is what the Buddha himself attained on the night of enlightenment. The first watch from 6 to 10 p.m. She recollected her past lives. And then in the middle watch from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. She used the Deva eye to see beings dying and passing away according to karma. So she used it more and more so that we could see more and more, so that it's purifying the Deva eye.
Another thing is that the other power, the carry to attain third stage, third group. It's quite rare in the to have attained third group and then become arahant within the same life, because in that many anagami, not seldom like I come across a third group and then move on to arahant.
Yeah, because normally what we read in the suttas are lay people. But this one, she had already been an anagamin, so after she renounced, then she had the incentive to practice harder, and then attained.
The other question I think is that on Therigatha, in Buddha Nikaya, the Sakapanya Sutta, even though it's like that we already have the Dhamma vision, and the Madhya Nikaya, Venerable Moggallana went up to his heavenly mentor to take him up, to urge him on. So I was wondering whether at that stage he was already an Arya, if he did not, and then he taking security supply and then take a slow out into Nirvana.
Yes, I think when Venerable Moggallana went to that palace, that means before that Sakadevaraja came to discuss the Dhamma with the Buddha. So definitely that was not the first time he met the Buddha. That means he was already anagamin, a Sotapanna. So even though he's already a Sotapanna and he's sure of getting out of samsara, because he is the Devaraja, he is surrounded by thousands of Devis, so and he has an extremely good life up there. So to a monk that is being very complacent, not making any effort. That's why he thought of shaking him up.
What kind of sensual pleasure are we found in page 7? Verse 47.
All sensual pleasures, those which are divine and those which are human. Divine refers to the heavenly sensual pleasures. Heavenly sensual pleasures and human sensual pleasures.
One more question is about verses 2, page 1. What is Rahu?
Page 1?
Page 1, verses 2.
Rahu is the huge asura. This huge asura is the biggest size asura. And the story goes that he caught the moon god, Chandima. Wanted to eat Chandima. And another time he caught the Surya, the sun god, also wanted to eat the sun god. But they called out to the Buddha for help. And the Buddha asked Rahu to release the moon god. And so the Rahu immediately released and went back to his heaven, shaking like a leaf. And then the Asura king asked him, "What happened to you? Why are you shaking like a leaf all over?" Then he told the Asura king what happened. And he said, if he did not release Chandima when he was asked to release Chandima, then his head would have split into 7 pieces. When the Buddha says something, it's like the Buddha's word is true and never false. So either he released Chandima or his head was split into 7 so that he still has to release. And the Buddha says release, it must be released, no matter what.
Okay. Page 8. Verse 51.
Verse?
51.
Okay.
It's mentioned 84,000 daughters. Why this number 84 and not any other number?
In the Indian tradition, certain numbers are standard, 84,000 or 500. So it means a huge number. It doesn't mean exactly 84.
So you brought me to the few months ago when in the Nanda verse, he was also mentioned 2,000 received from the Buddha, 2,000 from the Hindus. These 84,000 are current teachings. But why 2,000 again?
Oh, because you must add up to 84. In other words, it's saying 95% of my teachings were from the Buddha.
I was getting away also.
Is that why the Ramayana say that 84,000 numbers?
Yeah, they're using this number. But of course, cannot be 84,000 Dhamma doors.
Page 5, verse 31. They mention the 14th, 15th, and 8th day of the fortnight. The 8th day of the fortnight, it is 14 and 8 days. 8 to the 14th is 22.
It's like this. In the Indian calendar, the lunar month is divided into 2 fortnights. Okay? So like the Chinese lunar calendar, in the Chinese lunar calendar, the Uposatha days for keeping the 8 precepts, for lay people to keep the 8 precepts, are the 8th day of the lunar calendar, the 15th day, 23rd day, and the 30th day. If there's no 30th, then it's 29. Okay? So the 8th refers to the 8th of the fortnight. That means in the lunar month, it will be the 8th or the 23rd. The 8th day and the 23rd day of the lunar month is the 8th day of the Indian fortnight. Okay? The 15 refers to the 15th day of the lunar calendar, of the lunar month, or the 30th day of the lunar month is also called the 15th. But the 29th day of the lunar calendar is called the 14th, because it's the 14th day of the fortnight.
How about the continuous day and a special day of the fortnight?
Unless there's a special day, special celebration day, like our Chinese, leap month, or winter solstice. Chinese is the winter solstice, and then spring festival and all these things. Maybe like in Thailand, they have the plowing festival and all these things. Special days. You're free, no question. Ask her. Ask here, everybody have got the same question.
Because all the world is started by all the all the nuns, and we wanted that because at the four Sutta, the main Sutta, mostly started by Buddha and Arahant. So as we know that all the Arahant is normally they were approach to God and good. So how it was in the economy?
Actually, the nuns interacted with the monks a lot, and generally, if they had something to talk to the Buddha, they don't approach the Buddha directly. In the Vinaya books, we find that the nuns will approach the monks and tell the problem to the monk, and then the monks will tell the problem to the Buddha, unless the nun is Arahant. the arhants, and they have psychic power. And because they have psychic power, sometimes at midnight also they come and visit the Buddha. And around midnight is the time also the devas will come and visit the Buddha, because that is the time when the Buddha is free.
So the idea that the Buddha, whatever that respect all information, you relate it to Ananda, because this is one of the conditions that Ananda was attended to the Buddha. So whatever Buddha having...
Oh, that is only referring to the suttas.
Referring to the...
This one is just verses only of the...
Page 19. Verse 171. Why is it in the Therigatha is only mentioned the four noble truths and straight away to the five activity and the five powers, skipping the four efforts and the four para. And it's quite often is being misunderstood. Is there a reason?
Because these 37 Bodhipakya Dhamma, they are not cultivated by all the monks and nuns. So, what is important is the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay? So, some of them, they stress more on, like, say, the Iddhipada, that is for attaining psychic powers. But many of them, they are not interested in psychic powers, so they don't cultivate the Iddhipada, not perfect it. But like the Bojjhanga, the constituents of enlightenment, that is important. The Four Noble Truths are important. And the faculties, which is similar to the powers, are also quite important.
How about the four efforts?
The four efforts are also important, but it's already in the Noble Eightfold Path also. Actually, what is important is the Noble Eightfold Path. The others actually overlap. Many of them are already found in the Noble Eightfold Path.
Last question, page 23. Verse 211 and 212, when it mentions about attainment of rest from exertion, and 212 is I believe presently for exertion, can something be measured from the exertion and rest from exertion?
Rest from exertion when you finish your work. When you have not finished your work, you exert yourself.
So my understanding is the first step is always the most difficult. The fruit you enjoy when you bring tremendous effort, then you will see at the end of the road.
The striving is the xin phú hào thiền thảo kho bôi tì. The striving is all the dukkha. You have to wait a while. After the light comes on, you have to wait a while.
There's another saying of family that is Khu
what?
Khu means that the end of the person. When it would follow with the
yeah. People like that type of taste in the durian.
And when we teach the importance of worldly wisdom versus spiritual wisdom, and the importance of worldly wisdom for spiritual cultivation in the
worldly wisdom versus spiritual wisdom. Difficult to talk about that now, unless you ask me more specific.
Education, in terms of education and being knowledgeable of what things before we develop more
Actually, we find that in the suttas and even here, it says that because of pain, people practice a spiritual path. If you don't experience pain, there's not much incentive to practice a spiritual path. So, generally, it is good for people to taste the world a bit before they wear the robe. You find, for example, some Westerners, they go touring and then they come to Thailand at a young age, in their early 20s, having come into Buddhism, they become a monk. And many of them, after many years, they disrobe. So it is good for a person to be a bit mature and have tasted the world, known the life, the working life a bit. Then only having seen and experienced dukkha, then only that person practices spiritual path, because he will not think of going back. If you go into the robes too young, then later, when you are not making progress, for some people, when they are not making progress, their mind goes back to the worldly, all the things that they thought they missed, and then they go back to the worldly life. But if you already tasted a certain amount of it, you know what it is like, and it's no more attractive to you, because you already tasted it. But if you renounce too old also, it's a problem, because your body, after about 45, there's a mark. In fact, even 40, at the age of 40, there's a big difference you will see, because around the age of 40, our eyes will change. So at the age around 39, 40, most people they can't read small letters already. They have to take it far like that to read newspapers and start wearing the specs. And at the age of 45, my experience was, before 45, I used to sit in a cave and meditate, and the strong wind will blow at my back. I don't feel it now because my body is on heat when I meditate. But at the age of 45, it penetrates into the bones. So there's a time when your body heat starts to become less and less. The older you become, the more you're afraid of wind and cold. So it's hard to be a forest monk in your old age. You have to sleep in the forest on the cold floor and all this. You won't be able to stand. So the best time probably is between like 25 and 35. Not too old and not too young. You'll notice, I don't know whether you all have noticed, in certain Buddhist countries, because the family is very poor, they send these young children to wear the robe in the temples or monasteries. Boys as well as girls are sometimes 8 years old or 10 years old, they become a monk or a nun, a novice monk or nun. Such children generally, because they didn't taste the world, they wear the robe just to as a means of livelihood. So they have no incentive to really strive on the spiritual path. So you can see from there, if you come too young into the robes, it's for a different purpose, not to strive. But of course, there are some people, they have seen dukkha, and they understand the Dhamma, and they are very sincere in practicing the spiritual path. Then even they renounce a bit late. If they are sincere, they can always make progress. And that's important, whether you make progress or not.
I saw a few statements such as this technical utterance, the instruction of my mother. I think the state of religious excitement in the doctrine. Can you explain what is the state of religious excitement in the doctrine?
I guess this in the Pali, sometimes they talk about this word Sangvega. Sangvega is urgency. When you understand the Dhamma, there's urgency to practice. Because then you realize we all have cancer. In the Buddha's teaching, we all have cancer. We don't know when we are going to die. Don't be complacent. Don't think, I'm young, I still have time. You don't have time. So that is that excitement, religious excitement. You just look around us, those people who got cancer, they never expect it. Like a few days ago, somebody said the office mate, a girl, 31 years old, got cancer. Just gave birth to her first baby. Now the cancer spread all over the body. And one of our devotees was coming here to practice, 50-something years old. Very strong, looked very, very tough guy. Suddenly, he found he got cancer. Never expect. That's why the sutta say that when you have this sangvega, this urgency to practice, then the sutta says it's like your head is on fire. You have to do something quickly, put out the flame. Okay, can we end here?